Where would the designer check go? Hey, no one is helping us. Where would the designer check go? The last time we did, where did we write the designer check? Last time when I gave you the format for the cash book, where did I write the designer check?
At the credit side.
The credit side. And did I give any explanation for why I'm writing it at the credit side? Didn't I give any explanation for that? I didn't give any explanation for why I'm writing it at the credit side. So if you think you have made payments and then the creditor goes to the bank to cash out and they reject the amount, it means it is still an expense to you, right? It is still an expense to you, right? So your expense will still be there. Your expense will still be there, right? So the dishonored checks would, what is the amount for that? That is 124 naira. 124 naira, right? Now, yeah, that is all for the transaction. Now we can balance the account. Give me the total for the someone should compute for the debit side, someone should compute for the credit side. So those computing for the debit side, I'm waiting. Those computing for the credit side, I'm waiting.
Credit side is 613.8.
The credit side is 6. Did I hear 6?
Yes, 612.
12013.
13.8.
Okay. 613.8. Okay. So this is what someone is getting for the credit side. What are you getting for the debit side?
So please, I have a question.
Give me the balance for the debit side. Then you ask your question.
Debit side 315515. I don't know if it's
3155. Hey, if you add just this one, this 3154. If you add this to that, give me the totals from top.
yes.
Adding the whole everything from.
To the plus the. Oh, okay.
So what are you getting?
2 plus the 3 plus the 6 5.
Three, 8, 9, 7, 5.
What are you getting for the debit side?
3897.5.
3897.5. So basically more than this amount. 3897.5. This side would also be 3897.5. 3897.5. So the balance CD will come here, right? The difference. What is the balance CD?
6.2.
32883.7.
Is what?
3283.7.
3288 what?
3.
3.7.
Please come again. What are you getting? 3, 2,
8, 0.
8, 0.
3.
That's right. 3280.7. That's what I got.
3280.7. If you are not giving me correct figures, it will not balance.
83.
If you are not
83.7.
83, correct. Okay. All right. So let's
No, we
continue. So now you're done with it. Sorry? Is anyone speaking? So the balance brought down.
83.
You said they are saying what?
Is that it? 83. 3283.7.
83.7. So can you make it run it to the nearest whole number? Or we should leave? Okay, we should leave it like that, right? I will. 3283.7. 3283.7. Okay. 0.7 also here. The one who said he's having a question, you can go ahead with your question.
Please, I wanted to ask how we can know whether the check was coming to us rather than leaving us down. The last
I
question.
don't get your question. Come again.
Check for 364.
Your network is not clear.
How do we know whether the check was issued by us or not?
How do we know whether the check was issued by what?
By us or we were given?
Which one are you talking about? Which one?
The last question.
Which amount are you talking about?
The last question. 124.
The Sunday check.
Yes.
124.
Yes.
How did we know that the question was what?
How do we know that the question was the check was given to us or we rather?
Am I the only one who is struggling to hear him?
No.
You're also struggling to hear him.
Yes.
Your question is not too clear. I think you have to check your network. So your question is not too clear. All right, so let's continue. Maybe you can send it. So now the B is saying that we should prepare the bank reconciliation. Bank reconciliation or statement. Bank reconciliation statement. So the bank reconciliation statement,
Teacher, please, I'm
We are
typing.
starting with balance. You've gotten it now. You send the question.
Type it.
This is you type the question. Okay. So please, why is it that the debit side attributed to receipt? And how do we know if we were issued the check rather than giving it out? How do we know if we were issued the check rather than giving it out? Okay. So your question is, how did we know whether we are rather receiving the check or we are rather giving it out? Is that your question?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's go back to the question. Let's go back to the question. Let's go back to the question. What is the question say? A check for 124 had been returned by the bank, marked RD. Yes, so marked returned by the bank. What does it mean? It was returned to us, right? Can you see that? I don't know if I've answered your question. Can you see that? Why is the debit side attributed to receipts? The debit side is receipts. That's what we call all receipts. When we receive money from our customers, it's recorded at the debit side, right? So Lana, that's your question, right? Lana, have I answered your question? Okay, so let's continue. So now, is a balance from the cash book an overdraft or a normal balance? Is it an overdraft, a normal balance? Is it an overdraft or a normal balance?
Draft.
Is it an overdraft or a normal balance?
Overdraft.
Wow. The balance brought down is at the debit side. Is it a normal balance or an overdraft?
Normal balance.
It's a normal balance, but it's an asset. If it's an asset, the BD should be at the debit side. Cash book is an asset. To balance as per cash book, balance as per the cash book, what are we getting? 3283.7, right? 3283.7. What do we add? What do we add? What do we add? We add what? Unpresented checks. Unpresented checks. We identify the unpresented checks from the question. What are the unpresented checks? So 2 checks for 105.25 naira and then 1855.75 naira have not been presented. So we have 2 unpresented checks. We have 2 unpresented checks. 2 unpresented checks. One is what? 1054. 1054. So 1054 point what? 0.25. And other one is what? The other one is given us 1855.75. 1855.75. Right? So what is it giving us? What is the total? So we getting for the total.
Two nine one zero.
I'm getting 2910. Okay. 2910. 2910. Right. So that if you add it to this, what are you getting? If you add it to this, what are you getting?
Six 193.7.
6193.7. Okay. Then so what is it? Okay, then what do we do? Then we less what? What do we less?
So you added what to what to get the 619.
What do we less?
What did you add to get uncredited check?
Do we less uncredited checks?
Less.
Do we add or we less? Prefer to written add unpresented checks.
We less.
Uncredited checks. So what was the uncredited check that we identify? Okay, so I checks to be valued 7,504. 7,504. 7,000. 7,504. Right? 0.0. So what do you have? That will be a negative balance. That will be a negative balance.
Hmm. Sir, please, what did you add to get the 6 6193.7.
I added these two figures. Look at these two figures. And I had 2919. Look at the statement. The balance as per cash book, add unpresented checks to that balance. Balance as per cash book, that is the amount. Add or the total of the unpresented check. This is the total. 1, 2. If you add it, you are getting this total. You add it to this. And you are getting the the 6193.7. Then the format says less uncredited checks. So what are you getting? Less this amount from the 6. It will be a negative amount. What is that negative amount?
Negative 1310.3.
So that's giving us 1310.3. Is it 0.3?
Yes.
So that's point 3. So this amount is what? Balance as per what? Balance as per.
Bank.
And that is the balance in the from the question. This should be the balance from the. If it is not tallying from the question balance, let's look at the question. The bank statement of Lemon and Co Limited for the period 31st May 2015 showed an overdraft. It shows a negative balance. Overdraft is a negative balance of what? 1310. 1310. So here we can, if you run into the whole number, we are getting 1310. So we could have decided to run everything to the nearest whole number, right? To the nearest whole number. So if we leave it like this, you're also correct. 1310.3. If you run into the nearest whole number, it is 1310.3. So that is it for now. Let's read the next question quickly. Let's read the next question quickly. Quickly take the next question.
Please.
Is anyone on the floor? Who is having a question?
I thought because we saw the overdraft the question, we had to use the overdraft formula.
He said the topic because we use the instead of overdraft, you have to use the overdraft formula.
Yes.
If you use the overdraft formula, which means you are going to start with balance as per what? Balance as per the bank statement, right? Is it with respect to the bank statement? Someone is giving us feedback. Everyone should mute him or herself. Okay. So if you use the bank statement formula, you should be getting balance as per the adjusted cash book. You should be getting the balance as per the cash book, right? balance as per the cash book. So if you start with that, so that is 1310. If you start with that, then you follow. If it's an overdraft, so what will be the format? Okay, this is overdraft. Balance as per the cash book. So you'll be starting with balance as per the bank statements. So you add unpresented checks. If you add unpresented checks, then you less uncredited checks. And that balance, the balance should be balanced as per cash book. It should tally with the cash book balance. So you can use that format if you want to. And it should get balance as per the cash book. I don't know if I'm making sense. The one who asked the question, am I making sense? Do you understand? All right.
Yes,
So let's
yes.
continue with this last question. Then we call it. All right. So this question to Regina. Regina is in relation to Regina. So we start with the name of the business. So books of Regina. 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 So we have to adjust the cash book. The additional information is that additional information A. Adjust the cash book showing the balance on the cash book at the time the bank statement was received. Reconcile the adjusted cash book with the balance shown on the bank statement. And the same thing, it's the same thing. Adjust the cash book. So A is find the what? Adjusted cash book. Adjusted cash book. Adjusted cash book. Adjusted cash book. Adjusted what? Cash book. Adjusted what? Cash book. Okay. Let me draw it nicely. Adjusted cash book. All right. So here it's in Ghana cedi, Ghanaian cedis, Ghanaian cedis. All right. So let me read my thing. Let me read my thing. Okay. So Regina proprietress of Paragon Restaurant gives you the following information about her transactions with her bank for the year to 30th September 2008. Balance shown on her bank statement on 31st December was 7150 overdraft. 7150 was overdraft. You get it? The overdraft. That is an overdraft of 7150 overdraft, negative balance. A standing order paid by the bank on behalf of the Regina was 1150 had been shown on the bank statement. Bank charges shown on the bank statement only 2,500. 2,500. A credit transfer in favor of Rebecca for 10,000 was credited to Regina's account. Error. The following checks on the debit side of the cash book were omitted for the bank statement. So they were in the cash book at the debit side, but were omitted from the bank statement. So is it an unpresented checks or uncredited checks? We'll get to know about that. But I think it's uncredited because we have debited it and the bank, they are yet to credit it. So that is an uncredited check. Okay. The bank debited 2,300 in error to Regina's account. Errors that increase our bank account The bank debited 2,000 in error to generate account. Errors that increase our bank account, errors that decrease on our bank account. So what do you think will be this error? Is it an error that decrease our bank account? Error that decrease our bank account. Because when the bank debits our account, it means our balance will be reduced. The following checks appearing on the credit side of the cash book, they were the credit side of this cash book or the old cash book, were not shown on the bank statement. So they were at the credit side of the cash book, but were not presented at the debit side of the bank statement. So that is an unpresented check. We have made payment to our suppliers, so we've recorded it at the credit side, but the suppliers are yet to present it to the bank to cash out, right? To cash out. Then to Paulina and then Rose. Then Regina instructed the bank to pay 1,700 on her behalf for goods purchased. The bank rather debited the account of another account. Error that increased our bank account. Instead of you to debit our account, you have debited another person's account. So our account is still intact. Nothing has reduced in our account. So it is increasing error that is increasing our bank account. We know that our bank account is supposed to be lesser than that, but you have not deducted the 1,700 because you deducted the money from a wrong person's account. Then we have a check issued to a supplier for 2,300 has been entered twice in the cash book. So if it has been entered twice, so if you are paying the supplier 2,300 has been entered twice in the cash book. So you have entered the 2,300 twice at the credit side because that's where we make the payments. We issue the checks to the suppliers. So in this case, how do you cancel it? You record it at the opposite side. You record. You are just supposed to record 2,300. But you recorded 2,200 twice. So you just record 2,000, write the debit side part to correct it. All right. Then you are solve it together. Please solve it together. Okay. To balance aspect, that is the first one. And standing order. Standing order, we already know it will come here. No need to think about it. So the more you solve questions, you know that standing order must come here. And the amount is 1150. 11. But before that, was there any balance for the cash book? The balance for the cash book can either be a debit balance or a credit balance. If it's a credit balance, then that is an overdraft. That's an overdraft. Do we have any balance from the previous period? Any balance? Balance brought down? Do you have any balance brought down?
They didn't give us any balance.
They didn't give us any balance brought down.
Yes.
Sorry?
They didn't give us any balance.
Okay. So they didn't give us any balance. They didn't give us any balance. Okay. If they didn't give us any balance, then we can proceed. We can proceed, right? All right. So our standing order. Our standing order is the 1150. Then bank charges is also here, right? Bank charges is also here. Bank charges is how much? 2500. 2500. Then what else? A credit transfer of in favor of Rebecca for 10,000 was credited to Regina's account by the bank. So what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if a credit transfer was transferred to Regina?
So go to the debit side.
You go to the what?
The debit side.
You go to the debit side. Okay, so the debit side will be how much? A credit transfer in favor of Rebecca was credited to Regina's account. So if a credit transfer was credited to Regina's account, does it affect the cash book? Does it affect the cash book? That shouldn't affect the cash book. That shouldn't affect the cash book. But wait, before we proceed, let me tell you this. We were supposed to get balance brought down to start the transaction, right? We were supposed to get balance brought down, right, to start the transaction.
Yes.
But then we saw that we are not having any balance brought down from the question. And because the question did not give us the cash book balance, then it did not give us the cash book balance. Then the solution must begin with the bank reconciliation statement. The solution must begin with the bank reconciliation statement so that we can ascertain the closing balance of the adjusted cash book, right? So the question must begin with the bank reconciliation statement. I mean, with respect to the bank reconciliation statement. With respect to the bank reconciliation statement. Anyway, let's continue with this. Let's continue with this. When we get there, we'll see what we can do. All right. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So a credit transfer in favor of Rebecca was credited to Regina's account. If it was credited to Regina's account, that is with respect to it will affect the bank statement. So we would ignore that. It will not come here. The following checks were debited, blah 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 blah. So that is uncredited checks. Uncredited checks, right? Then what else? The bank debited 2,300 in error to Regina's account. So this is which of the errors? Error that will increase or decrease our bank account. Which of them?
Decrease.
So decrease. Error that will decrease our bank because you debited our account, Regina's account. So it will decrease Regina's bank account. So that will be added to what's uncredited. Do you remember error that decrease the bank account? Then we move on to the Next one, the following checks appearing on the credit side of the cash book were not shown on the bank statement. So unpresented checks. Then what do we have? Regina instructed the bank to pay 17,000 on her behalf for goods purchased. This, the bank rather debited the account of another customer. The bank rather debited the account of what? Another customer. The bank rather debited the account of what? Another customer. Debited the account of another consumer customer. Okay. So which type of error is this? Which type of error is this? So error that will increase our bank account, right? Increase. And then the last one is a check issued to supplier for 2,300 has been entered twice in the cash book. So I said that if it has been entered twice, means because we are paying the supplier and they have entered twice. So we only need one. So we debit one so that indirectly this one will cancel the one and this one will be remaining because we really need one, but we wrote two. So we have to debit it at the opposite side to cancel one and the remaining will be left in the books. So what do we do to the adjusted cash book? We would debit the adjusted cash book. We debit the adjusted cash book with how much? So it's an overcast, right? It's an overcast. Overcast has been corrected of 230,000, right? 230,000. All right. So now, what do we do from here? We balance off the account, right? So if you are balanced, what are you getting? To balance the account, what are you getting? This side is 2,300 and this side is what? 3,000. No,
3,650.
668.
650.
So this side, what did you get? You got 3,650 and this side is 2,300. There is an error with the question. There's an error with the question. This is a question, past question, and for the senior high students. So I think they brought balance brought down. The balance brought down for the cash book is 13,000. Let me see, 13,700. They are having 13,700, but it was not captured in the questions. It is not in the question. But looking at the, I just want to check the workers and I realized that they have introduced the balance brought down of 13,700, which we cannot find in the question. So they omitted that one. So I beg your pardon. Let's bring balance brought down. And the balance brought down was also an overdraft. The balance brought down was an overdraft. It was an overdraft. So it was placed at the what? Credit side. If it's a normal balance brought down, it would have been at the debit side. So there's an error somewhere. So they didn't bring the balance brought down to the question. So balance brought down should be 13,700. They should have captured it in the question, but they refused to do that. So because of that, if we continue, we would not arrive at the balance aspect. You see this one, when it's balanced, you know. When you are done with everything, you know that what you are doing is correct or not. That is by comparing what you have to the amount given in the question. So you will come and compare this, the final figure we get to the amount given, balance as per what has been given in the question. So if you are right, you know. If you are wrong, you also know, right? So even though it is not typed in the question, but there is a balance of the cash book balance is, so let me write it. So cash book balance, which is an overdraft of 13,700 OD, 13,700. So that is why I'm bringing it at the credit side. For the cash book itself is having a debit balance, but because this one is an overdraft, it is starting with at the credit side. It is starting at the credit side. So if you give me the 2,000, now you can give me the 2,000.
17350.
17
350.
350. Who is speaking?
Gloria.
Who is speaking?
Gloria.
Gloria.
Say.
Okay. All right. So now, what will be the difference? The difference will go to the debit side. The difference will, as balance carried down. What is the difference given us? Balance carried down. The difference is given us what?
15050.
15
050.
050 15050 1505. Okay. Yeah. All right. So now we proceed. So then the balance brought down will come here. 15050 15050 15050 050, right? Okay. So now we are done preparing our adjusted cash book. Now we go prepare our bank reconciliation statement. After today, that will bank reconciliation statement. And you should be strong in B. You should hit your chest and say, me, bank reconciliation statement. I'm done. I'm done with bank reconciliation statement. I'm done with bank reconciliation statement. I'm done with control accounts. Control accounts is also two accounts like this. That one is also two accounts. We just prepare two things. The sales ledger control account and the purchases ledger control account, right? So now, since it is starting with an overdraft, then what do you think we start with? So here, we would have started with balance as per what? Cash book. Balance as per the cash book. Were we giving balance as per the cash book? The balance as per the cash book. Balance as per the cash book, right? Right. So because here he didn't give us any balance as per what cash book. The first one that we saw of balance as per the cash book. So that when we are done preparing, we will know that that amount will lead to. I don't know if you remember the first question. Let's refer to the first question. First question. The company's cash book showed a debit balance of what? 35. So you see this amount. So we use that amount as what balance brought down from previous year, right? That is, but with this question, didn't give us the balance brought down from the previous year for the cash book. So as a result of that amount, or we had balance from the previous amount. If you get any balance from the previous amount, you can see there's error with the question. Anyway, so it's prudent we start with the as balance as per the bank statement. Balance as per the bank statement. So let's start with the balance as per the bank statement. Balance as per the bank statement. So the bank statement is an overdraft, and it was an overdraft that we were given. The overdraft balance as per the bank statement 7150. 7150. Okay. This 7150 balance as per, which is an overdraft. OD. If it's an overdraft and you are starting with the bank statement, how do you start it? Let me see the format. If it's an overdraft, here it's an overdraft. We started with cash book and then we added uncredited. So with cash book, we are using uncredited. It means here you are going to use add unpresented or checks. So what are the unpresented checks? We identify them. Paulina is having how much? Paulina is having 2700. Then who else? Rose is having how much? Rose is having 3,300. 3,300. That is what Rose is having. What is the 2,000? 000 10 6,000. Is it 6,000? Is it 6,000? Yeah, I think 6,000. So 6,000. Do you have any wrong credit? Wrong credit is error that would increase our bank statement. That will increase our bank statement. So we have identified increase. So that will increase our bank statement. Regina instructed the bank to pay 1,700 on her behalf for goods purchased. The bank rather debited the account for another customer. So this is error that will increase our bank account 1,700. So wrong credit. You can see wrong credit because they have credited our account. They have rather debited someone's account. Debited someone's account. So it means our account has increased. It's still as it was. Still as it was, right? Do you have any other error that would increase our bank account? Any error that will increase our bank account? I think this thing, a credit transfer in favor of Rebecca for 10,000 was credited to Regina's account. So you see, this one is also increasing our account, Regina's account. So Regina's account would also increase here because this error is increasing Regina's account, increasing Regina's account. So this one is also one of the errors. So I think that's all. That's all for the errors. So what is the total? The total will come here.
17,000.
What is the total? Total will come here. 17,700. Then now we have less on Credited was checks. Less uncredited checks. Uncredited checks, we identify them as Jessica and Felicia. Jessica and Felicia. Jessica and Felicia. Jessica and Felicia. So, how much is for Jessica? How much is for Jessica? Jessica 3,100. 3,100. And then Felicia is how much? Felicia is how much? 4,400. 4,400. So 4,400. What would be the total? What would be the total? So this 17,000, if we add it to there, because we said add on presented checks to this overdraft. So this overdraft is a negative balance, and this amount is a positive amount. So if you find the difference, you deduct this from that. What are you getting? 17,700 minus 7,150. What are you getting?
$10,550.
10,550. Hey, did I say you deduct? Sorry, you add rather. Sorry, you rather add. When you add this amount, it will become overdraft. You rather add it. To add it and give the amount.
24,850.
24,000. 24,800 and what? 50. So this is an overdraft. It's an overdraft. It's an overdraft. Okay. Then what do we do from here? Did we? So this is the unpresented checks. Errors that would decrease our wrong debit, right? Do you have any wrong debit? Error that would decrease our bank account. Did we identify something like that? Error that would decrease our bank account. Where is it? Okay. The bank debited 2,300 in error to Regina's account. So that is wrong debit. That would decrease our bank account. Wrong debit. So that's how much? 2,000. Is it 300? Uh, 2,300. 2,300. 2,300. So what is the total? What is the total?
$9,800.
I'm getting what?
9,800.
7,800.
9,800.
Hey, speak louder. Are you tired?
9,800.
Because to say you are a scholars and associate member, right?
Okay.
So now what do we do to this? We deduct because you are deducting all the uncredited checks. So less uncredited checks. What are we getting?
Deducting from what?
From this amount. I think we are adding, we get add this amount. And then we should less all uncredited checks. So we are lessing the entire this amount with its error.
$15050.
15050. That's an overdraft. So which amount is this representing? So this is balance as per adjusted cash book. Balance as per what? Adjusted cash. Any question? Any question?